Looking at the market, what we see is that in the past, people did automate, but it was not as serious or not as much of you have to do it or you're out of the market. It was more of a novelty and an interesting thing to have, especially mobile robotics. Then over the years, stationary robots that pick things and so on became very well established and so forth. I think mobile robotics is still not that well established, but it's certainly taking off more and more. And I think the need to automate for people are clear, especially after COVID. It's very hard to get good personnel and reliable personnel and so on. So instead, for companies to be predictable, they have to automate and handle their materials in an automatic sense. That's what we're all about. Customizing that not only in software but also mechanics and even design of the mobile robotics to suit what their needs are. Many companies in the marketplace that we see, they can expect to automate, which means they will have a much more predictable operation, especially with material handling. But also a side benefit of doing this is not only do you move the material, but you can also analyze where it goes and get a lot of statistics and so on. Many of our customers we talked to today, they don't measure damage to the product, for instance. And if you say that, let's say a pallet of goods or whatever box it's packed in is worth $1,000, a single vehicle can move 10 of those an hour, so that's $10,000 an hour. And if you add that over a year, it will be millions of dollars that's being transported. And if you only have, let's say, 0.25% in damage that you can improve by automating, that alone is a huge gain that most companies don't realize today. In the past, when we installed robotics, people were almost scared of the robots. They thought they would come in and take over the plant and take their job and so forth. And in truth, it's not the case at all. The robots are still nowhere near as smart as people. I always compare them to a mosquito, where you try to kill a mosquito, it will fly away, but the vehicle will not do that. It will just sit there. So it's not even as smart as a mosquito yet. But it can work 24/7, and it normally does laborious tasks like taking materials from A to B, back and forth, back and forth. And it makes the company more competitive, so our customers invest in their plants in America to keep them here, eliminating the laborious task using robotics for that, but then instead enhancing their people to get better jobs or more, shall we say, intelligent jobs that are higher paid as well. What we see, we believe in the future, companies that choose not to automate will just run deeper into the groove of having troubles to maintain their personnel and keep them trained and so on. It's a very different world to where it used to be, where people could hire and fire every day of the week. And nowadays we see things like a $5,000 signing bonus for people whose job it would be to move some boxes around. Some companies are that desperate, so I just think it's a trend that will continue where it's harder and harder to find workers that will do those kind of tasks. One other thing to think about when you automate is what equipment to use where. Generally, you can say that forklifts are very good when you have low throughput and not so many loads going to the same position and so on. Generally, automatic guided vehicles or AGVs or mobile robotics are the best in the middle area where you have, say, 5 to 200 loads an hour type volume. And if you go higher than that or need more buffer than that, then a conveyor is generally the best way to go. And it's something you can look into. There are pros and cons with each one of them, but you can also see where people do it backwards, where maybe some companies would have 86 forklifts in a warehouse, for instance. There is no way all of that is correct. That doesn't mean all of them are not needed, but some part of that could be better done by either automatic guided vehicles or conveyors for sure. If I were you, if I was a decision maker in a company that's looking to automate, I think you should look into not only the equipment, but also what it means for you as a company. An analogy would be, it's kind of like getting your driver's license as a teenager. You see the car and you're all excited and so on, but it's not really where the truth lies, and there's more to it than that. So you have to think about the whole experience with an onboarding procedure for your people, also as you get new personnel come in, as well as follow up with statistics and start measuring things you don't measure today, for example, product damage, etc. And if you have an automation agenda like this, it will just improve the bottom line over and over, but it is a learning process for sure. So you have to look very broadly at what the alternatives are and how you best automate each situation. We can see that instead of outsourcing everything, the market is changing, and now people are trying to bring things back to America, but also automating, which is exactly what we had as a vision originally. But in automating, many companies struggle because even though they buy an automatic system, their people don't understand how it runs, and they have troubles getting good people and so on. So what we're focusing at AIM is to make automation very easy to use. We have an onboarding program for the customers and personnel, so they get qualified to run the equipment, and if they have turnover and they have a new person on the floor, there is a process they go through to learn and so forth. And above all, we try to make the robotics very user-friendly and easy to understand, even if you haven't got training.